They'll sneak out. Then the wife and I will be alone.
You've been sitting much too long, much too long. Welcome, 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 welcome to Truth, a radio program designed with you in mind, a program whose sole purpose is to empower you, our listeners, for information leads to knowledge, and knowledge is power. And as always, I want to empower you to take control of your life, those things that impact you, your family, and your community. As always, too. Oh, praise God. As always, too, I want you to go to the website at www.Gwen-truth.com so you can access all of those resource listings that will make you what? All powerful. All powerful. www.Gwen-truth.com. And there you can also access previous shows that have been uploaded to YouTube so you can see if the person actually looks the way you assume they were when you were listening, right? Oh, praise God. Welcome, welcome, welcome. As has been stated, hopefully, I'm Gwen Azama-Edwards, former city commissioner, retired city clerk, city of Daytona Beach, author, minister, St. John Missionary Baptist Church Incorporated, Inc., and community volunteer. And tonight, I have an individual who is going to talk with us about a great program that you, if you have a mind to, can contact them to see if you would be a good mix with them for their program as a volunteer. But you can also help other ways, because we are our brother's keeper, and we are, as members of any community, partners with those who are trying to work together to make the community better. And as a result, that means that we all have a responsibility to ensure that our young people receive what they need, our elderly receive what they need, our families, and that includes you. That includes you. And I wanted to say before we get started on the program, because today has been Felicia Benzo is my guest, and Felicia, it's really been a really gloomy day. And I remember reading some time ago that, especially in those states where the weather is like this all the time, that people get very depressed and they have a high suicide rate. And I know that's kind of a depressing way to start out, but I want to say to those who may feel a little down, especially based on circumstances that are at times outside of their control, that tomorrow the sun will shine again. So if you're feeling down or felt down today, give yourself the opportunity to view the sunshine again. Give yourself an opportunity to get it right. Give yourself an opportunity to take that other chance, that second chance, that third or fourth chance, to make something good happen for you. And this is, as Betty Rowe and I talked about on the last week's program, this is a better year. This is going to be a good year for you. Say that to yourself. It's going to be good. It's going to be great. And you're the one who decides whether or not that is the case or will be the case. So psych yourself up and get out there and start again. Get out there and do your best, be your best, and when you're at your best, when you even psych yourself into feeling that all things are possible, because we know that all things are possible through Christ who gives us strength, that things are going to be great for you. Just psych yourself up and know that. Just know that. Believe it deep down, and guess what? You know, your mindset will change, your attitude will change, and a lot of good things will happen and be attracted to you. All right, so the sun will shine tomorrow, and it's going to be a great, great day. It's going to be an even greater year. Know it, believe it, and then work on that and have that mindset, okay? I believe it, and great things are already starting to happen that I can see. So open your mind, you know, and improve your perspective, widen your perspective, and you'll see some good things happening. And the individual that I have with us tonight is an individual who has been able to make good things happen. Why? Because she was determined that things would be better for young people. She was determined that this special need that was there, that she could see that was missing, the gap that was missing to help our young people be successful, that it was put in place, and she jumped out there, made it happen, and is continuing to make it happen and see good things happen for the young people who've been impacted by her program. So our guest tonight is Felicia Benzo, and she is the founder and executive director for a program called Catalyst, that is the acronym Global Youth Initiatives Incorporated. And Felicia, if you would tell our listeners a little bit about yourself for those who don't know you. I know I had seen you years ago, and then when I saw you recently at something, an event at Tiger Bay, I said to myself, I know this lady. I've seen her before. I've seen her around, etc. You know, you see people, because people who are active and involved always run into other people who are the same. And we're always out there and always doing something. Even though we might be traveling in somewhat different circles, we're still out there making good things happen. So I knew I had seen you and I was familiar with you, but I wanted to know more about you, your program, so we connected, and you're here so that others can be familiar with you and your program as well. So if you would take some time to educate our listeners as to who you are, what you're about, and then share with them about the program that we've been talking about, which is really so awesome.
Well, thank you, Gwen. Happy New Year to you and everybody. And if I may put on my medical hat for a quick second, if you notice, all the other mammals go into hibernation at this time. And that's because there's not a lot of sun. It is a biochemical effect on the body. So when human beings feel a little down when there is no sun, or it is cold, it's because they're experiencing that usual effect that other mammals have, and they hibernate. So you're not just depressed because you need medication. You are depressed because you don't have enough sun to interact with.
So you're normal.
And you're quite normal. So don't feel like you need to go to a doctor for anything. But like you said,
thank you for
this is a great year for all of us. Now, like I said, my background is medicine. I have 4 children. 3 of them are our own biological. One that is my nephew, basically. And I believe that if you give children the tools they need, that they can become successful, happy, productive, and competitive adults. And recently, we haven't been doing a good job of that. At least 45 years, we have not been doing that. We just see them as people that or entities, and that we push aside, and we put them in daycare, we leave them. We don't give them the emotional IQ that they need in order to be successful human beings. We think that education is going to do it, but if you don't have the emotional wherewithal, that self-esteem, that confidence, the communication skills, the ability to be resilient, to deal with difficulties, that academics will do nothing for you. It's like putting water in a vat with holes, and we see that. Now, we can blame the education system, but it takes all of us.
Yes.
The parents, the schools, and the rest of us as adults to do this. So when people came to me about 4 years ago, this was an administrator and a principal asking for mentors, and they looked so distressed about this. I realized there was something going on that I needed to really participate in. Further research demonstrated that in Volusia County, 76% of our children are coming from head of household female, single females. And that 85% of our schools are Title I schools, which means that the schools have more than 75% of their students on free or reduced lunch. That just means those that exceeded the 75% made Title I. Never mind those that missed it by 5 or 6 students. So I would expect that all our schools are pretty much Title I schools. This is a new way, or let me say it's an old way of saying that people just don't have the financial resources.
Right.
And that's just to talk about lunch. There are schools that are giving breakfast as well, and we know there are children that do not get dinner at night. The program Everybody is Somebody in Orange City fed 90 students or children a day during the summer. 450 meals a week. This is during the summer. So it shows us that we have a problem here that we are ignoring. Poverty. And it does not know race, gender, creed. Poverty sets into a human being, it can destroy them, much less a child. And so this is what we're dealing with. Along with that, we know that our children need more attention. They just need more attention. A lot of us are sitting out. We already have raised our children. Those of us that don't have children don't want to be bothered with children. Those of us that work here say we're too busy. But it's going to take the entire community of adults to move these children forward, to make sure that they understand they're important, that we value them. We must spend time with them. We get what we get because we're not willing to give them what they need. And it is not a game. It's not a pair of sneakers. It's not a pair of clothes. It's that one-on-one, eyeball-to-eyeball contact. Now, they've reported, even in the schools, that parents spend 10 minutes a day with their children. Now, we don't know what kind of time that is, whether it's yelling at them, sending them for a shower or what.
Quality, yeah.
Exactly. But we do know this about mentoring, one-on-one mentoring. We're spending 30 to 60 minutes once a week with a child. So Catalyst is mnemonic for children and adults together achieving leadership, inspiration, and success. The whole focus is to mobilize the adult community into the school where we can meet with the child, develop a relationship early with them. 3rd grade is where we start. Most programs start in middle school and high school. We know how difficult that is to start a relationship with a child that's already pretty much set on what they want to do. We see it already at 3rd grade, and they're 8. We already see some of the problems that they're having at home, changing their personality, making them feel insignificant, making them very angry, making them feel nervous and anxious, incapable. We see these things happen to them in 3rd grade. So these mentors are able to meet with these children one-on-one during the school hours where they have a little break with them and build them, encourage them, be like their life coach. And then they move from year to year with them. Their mentors, 40% of the mentors in the program right now are with their children for 4 years already.
Oh, wow.
This is awesome, and you can see the difference in these children and children that have not had that advantage.
And I used to be a participant, an active participant with the Guardian Ad Litem program, and one of the things that they require of guardians is that you make the commitment that you will be with that child from the time they start the program and working with the court system, and that we work with children who are abused and neglected by their parents, till the time that they're finally settled, the case is terminated, which can take a year, 2 years, or even longer. But they felt that it was important to maintain that consistency, because with a lot of our young children, it's nothing for them to have an adult come into their life and the next thing you know they're gone in a relatively short period of time, and then another one comes into their life and they're gone, another the same, and there may be a mother who's raising them and they've got friends that are coming in and going and coming and going, so the young people lose the ability and lose the desire even to have close relationships, because no sooner do they start to feel an attachment than the person is gone.
Exactly.
So I can see the need for that continual, consistent bond that needs to be there in terms of these mentors. And so many of our young people, you know, they're into the thing, but they're also playing with their, you know, the gadgets and all of that too. So there isn't a lot of personal or interpersonal interaction between family members, less more between even some of the young people. They're texting to each other as opposed to talking, you know.
Yes.
So we're moving away from the ability even to talk to one another. And as we start out talking about how human beings are like a lot of the other animals that are created, there is a need for that kind of connection in order for us to develop into the types of the humane type of a person that we need to be. Would you agree?
Exactly.
Yeah.
To develop the empathy that you need. It's easy to blow away a person with a gun when you don't know them, or you have not had an experience with a person, a mother, a father, or something. And that's not to say that parents are bad. It's just to say it takes more than parents to raise a child. And if you have single females, invariably they're looking for a mate. So the men come in and out of their lives, and in and out of the lives of their children as well. So children have a difficult time bonding. The males in particular are having a hard time. They have a female at home, they have females in the school, and you know their behavior is almost zero tolerance. Males learn different to females. Everybody knows that. They have statistics from way back when, 60 years ago, about how males are more mobile, they need more space to learn in, they like to roam, they like to make sounds. They do not speak like females. Females use a lot of verbal skills, but males make a lot of sounds. Bang, you know, you know, those kind of sounds. If you have sons, you know what I'm talking about. They like to touch you too, and that's their way of trying to test their strength. They like to tassel. They like things. They like to take apart things and like guns and knives. They like to do that. My sons come from a non-violent home, and we would never buy a gun for them. But I would see my sons use their finger as a gun. I would see them bite a cracker so it looked like a gun. You know, that kind of thing. So they're interested, I don't want to say in violence, but more aggressive kinds of things.
Right.
And yet those are the things they talk about in school they have zero tolerance for. So these boys learn very quickly that their behavior, their essence, their being is not welcome in school. So what do? They fit in the mold of a female, or they detach, which is the phenomena that they're noticing now. That males are starting to detach or disengage from school because it's not engaging for them anymore. So when they get mentors, and you see this over and over again, the boys will say, I need a male in my life. They may be 9, 10 years old and go to the counselor and say, I need a male. It's just different. I can talk to him. And when I speak to the male mentors, that's what they say.
Oh, okay.
You know, the boys will sit there and say, I can't talk to my mommy about this. You know, I'm just different. I know I'm different.
And now, I don't know if you're familiar with the, and I'm sure it's still going on in the west side of the county, in DeLand. They actually were running classes with just females and just males, and found it to be very successful.
That was Woodward.
Yeah, and I know they haven't expanded it, but they did find that it did work, as you have said. It works differently. It works better for them.
It works because they're developing. They're little human beings, and they're evolving into whoever they are. And it makes it difficult when they can't see themselves. They can't be what they can't see. And that's part of the problem with the males. They just see this female here, this female there, and you know, she's telling him this and that, and then they get to a certain point where they're taller than you are. They're looking at you in the eye. They want to test you.
Yeah.
You're a female. You know, they won't test you, and you know, it takes a certain female to understand that's what they're doing. Some women will feel very challenged by that, even feel like they're being very aggressive, but that's who they are. You know, this is a process they have to go through. If you're not aware of that, then you're going to try to, you know, criminalize them
right,
for this behavior, and that's part of what happens. They can't understand it.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't hear our voices the same way. Our voices are at a higher pitch than a male's voice. So they said that, you know, when we're screaming at them, they're not even really hearing us. We're like, wah, wah, wah.
Yeah.
Okay? But that's how come you hear women say, you know, well, I said the same thing to him. Why did he hear me? You know, how come he heard you? Because male's voice is deeper. And they seem to be able to hear it better.
Right.
This is what they say. I can tell you, I've seen that happen in my own household. So I learned to lower my voice and slow down. I said, this is what I want you to do, rather than, I told you not to do that. Once you go there, they don't even hear it.
Yeah, because I did more of the teaching them about consequences.
Right.
And when you take certain actions, you know, you be prepared to deal with the consequences and all that type of thing. Mainly because I guess I was a psychology student at the time. So, you know, doing the counseling master's program, all this kind of stuff, so that positive reinforcement and all of that. And when you help children, this is what I like about the program that they have in the school system now, the Common Core, where they're helping children to be able to think through things, come up with solutions, understand why, you know, A plus B equals C or whatever, not just, okay, you take A plus B plus C and that, you know, that's what you get, equals C. But to understand and be more creative and the like, because the real world requires that now and will require it even more in the future.
Exactly. We play board games with the children, no electronic games. And the particular board game is chess. Because chess requires strategy, concentration, focus. And at first the kids think they can get through it just like they do with their little electronic games. And I remember one of the boys I was playing with, because his mentor was absent, I substitute when the mentors are absent. And he had the game and he just felt like he could get through the game and be done with it. And I took his queen. And he was upset. He knew that if I take his queen, it's going to be very difficult for him to win this game. And he would say, you took my queen. I said, I did, because you assumed that, you know, one, I couldn't play the game, but also two, you weren't paying attention, so I took your queen. And it's like, after that, he was very focused, calm, when he came to play the game. That's what we want them to do, start thinking and not reacting, thinking. And that's what he learned to do. He plays so well now with his mentor that he's getting into tournaments.
Oh, wow.
This is a boy that could not sit down and be quiet.
And you know, one of the things you and I were talking about earlier, which I'm a total believer in as well, there are no dumb children out there. They are all very, very smart, very talented. They just need the right vehicle, the right degree of caring and support. Support in terms of somebody giving them the time and the attention to help them to blossom. Because all of our children are, you know, they're like seeds that have been planted that are just waiting for the kind of nourishment that will help them to blossom.
Exactly, the water, the nutrients, the sunshine, and that's what the mentor brings to them, you know, the instructions to all the mentors, you know, we're here to inspire them to greatness. And that's going to happen with a smile, a little touch to say, I love you, I think you're great. You know, sometimes it's a hug, you know, sometimes they just want a hug. It is about giving them the tools they need to be a success. And you can see it. We had a child that, when we first met her, she wanted to be a pimp. And she was in 3rd grade. And, well, we just didn't know what to do with this. It was just amazing, a female wanting to be a pimp. But nonetheless, that's where she was at that time. And we did not say anything about it. We just went on with the vision board and journaling and all kinds of things that we do with the children. And I'm here today to say that she's now a 6th grader, and she plans to be a captain in the Air Force, retire out, and be an FBI agent.
Wonderful, wonderful. And you know, by exposing them to opportunities so that they understand that there are certain things that they can do that's available to them, exposing them to things allows them to to broaden their perspective. I remember when I was in a position, regional manager, etc., and I would go to all these conferences, and at first I would find a babysitter and leave my kids with a babysitter, and then someone said, why don't you take them with you? I started taking them with me. I'll tell you, my kids, they got to meet and be around other races. They got a chance to really spend some time and watch mama work. And my youngest son said to me about a year ago, he said, you know, Mom, now I go into these board meetings, etc., and I talk and I interact with all kinds of people, and I always think back to the time that I remember seeing you going into a room, people were talking and stuff, and the minute you came into the room, people eyes were on you, and you were able to talk and communicate and deal with all of these, you know, different types of people on all the different levels. And he said, and I was so impressed, and I said to myself, you know, I can do that. I'm going to do that. And he's doing it today. So we have to expose our children to not only other cultures, but other cultures in terms of the people and the places, and to expand their horizons so that they know, just as I heard someone say, I think Jennifer Hudson was saying about an award that she got, that she says in their foundation they have set up, they say to young people that I came from the same place you did, and if I can make it, so can you.
Exactly, and so it is. We had a counselor that was talking about one of her children being slow, and I said, wait, just stop right there. This child learns differently. Okay, that I will accept, but I will not say the child is slow. And the fact is, this child has never been retained. So I don't know where she got that from. But those are kinds of things that people say to these children that demotivate them or make them feel less than themselves. She's dealing with a self-esteem issue. I would agree to that, but she is not slow. She learns differently. And so it is with all our children.
Oh, absolutely.
Like and exposure is so important. One of the mentors and I actually are learning Japanese together, and she started teaching her mentee Japanese. So the child is embarrassed because I will greet her in Japanese when I see her on campus. But I promised the child that when she graduates from high school, I'll take her to Japan. And the child's never forgotten that. Mother says, I hope you know. When she graduates, she's expecting to go there. So when we took the children to Emory last year, this child was one of the children that joined us, and they had the airplanes out, and they wanted the kids to sit in the cockpit with them, and they were showing them how the cockpit works. And in fact, out of that, 2 of the children have decided to be pilots.
Wonderful.
My girl does not want to get into the plane. She's scared. She says our mother says that these planes fall out of the air and people die. And I says, people die and they drive cars too.
Oh yeah,
I said,
it's really the safest way of travel. Actually.
Really? And so I said, how are we going to get to Japan if you can't? She says, we have to fly to go to Japan. We cannot take a car. I said, no, I've shown you the ocean between here and Japan. And she said, well, I don't think. I said, don't you go there. We're going to get you in the plane. But that's what we're dealing with.
Right.
Parents who have resources do this. When I was taking these international trips this year, parents have their kids, from little babies to older kids, on these huge planes going back and forth internationally. You don't see a lot of American children. Don't see a lot of American
which
children.
is, and you know, cost has to do with it, and a lot of other stuff as well. But the important thing is that, because there are opportunities to expose your children to other things. We have Museum of Arts and Sciences. We have, you know, the marina. We have the other place in Ponce Inlet where you can go and see the turtles and all the stuff that they're doing. I mean, there are opportunities all around us that we can expose our children to that will help to expand their horizons and plant seeds of success. Plant seeds of success.
I guess it's difficult though if you're the only one supporting the family. These jobs here can treat you like a slave.
Oh yes,
and
yes.
If you miss a day, they'll fire you behind, right? And so for parents it may be difficult, but for programs like ours, we can create these opportunities. That's how we landed up at Emory-Rill. And the kids were just fascinated by the things that Emory Riddle introduced to them. And like that's how we got to the pilots. And we have 2 kids working on the idea of how would you design a suit for somebody that has to sit for 3 years. They're still working on it. The parents say they just don't understand how these kids have stuck to this long. But that's because they got exposed and they were intrigued by what these students were talking about. The whole idea that the next frontier is Mars, and what the issues are in getting to Mars. We can do that. If we can spend $2.2 billion on one airplane, we can send that money to programs, not only our program, but to other programs where the people are willing to do what's necessary to expose these children. It takes money. It doesn't take, happiness. And you can't go to the gas station and say, I want 30 gallons of free gas.
Absolutely.
You can't ask the bus company to give you a bus. I said, well, we're a 501c3, so you give us the bus. No, they're not going to do that. They'll laugh at you.
Because they're all in the business of making money. And my hat's off to you. I know you've received awards for your program, for what you've developed, and you've done it really out of your own pocket, on your own dime. But you're at a point now, I'm sure, where at a certain point you do need more funds. It's just so far you can go by digging deep, and you've gone as deep as probably you can go in supporting the program yourself. I call you the executive director. You are the executive director, but it's a non-paid position. So there are exposures that you're trying to make available to these young people, but you need help. So how can others help you?
This is what we need. In order to sustain, now we're in our 4th year, but to sustain this program, so if anything happens to me, somebody else can take over, we're going to need money. Our goal is 10% of the children in our school system. That's 6,200 students. It's going to take way more than what I have to do that. We're going to need a place where we can bring mentors, we can bring the parents and the students at intervals during the year for different kinds of things. We're going to need money for the trips that we are taking these children on. We can get support from some other organizations, but they have their missions as well. So we have a dream group called, the dream is Dynamic, Responsible, Educated, Achieving Men. This group is a boys club at Southwestern, to move these boys around so that they can continue to be of service in the community, which is something else these children need to see early and engage themselves in early. Community service, so they can help to have stipends for these kids so that during the summer they're just not sitting on the block, that they're actually doing something. It takes money. And for us to be fooled about that anything around children does not take money, is not acceptable. This is the reason why these programs fail.
And we should say, so people know, you have well over 200 volunteers that participate in the program.
Mentors. We represent 45% of the mentors in the school system. This is a collaborative effort between us and the school. Our mentors are community people that volunteer to be mentors in their youth motivator program. They do the background checks, all right? What we do is engage the mentors and give them a syllabus to go through with these children, to encourage the children, to support them. We build a relationship, me, myself and I, build the relationship with the mentors, encourage the mentors, build relationship with the children, as well as the schools. And this is done with the permission of the parents, and the children have to agree to have a mentor. Do they know what a mentor is? No. But when they see other children at mentors, they understand by virtue of that, what they're seeing, what a mentor can be, and then they might even request one. Now we're going without male mentors. Woodward, Stark, Blue Lake. We have 30 children, 30 male children that don't have mentors right now. I need 30 men to step it up. I need 30 men to step it up. Say, I can spend 30, 60 minutes once a week from my job and school.
And these are various races, so people know we aren't talking just African American, just Hispanic, just Caucasian. We're talking all races,
We're talking
the full gamut.
And the mentors are all races. You know, a white child may have a black mentor. A white child may have a black mentor or a Hispanic mentor. And the point is that they only know us through experiencing us. So I'm not making that kind of decision that, you know, only white kids get white mentors, etc. So we have a mixture of mentors as well as children.
Because truly, because I've been one part of reading pals and the like, and what truly is important is that the person has the right heart. You train them, you have ongoing training and opportunities so that they understand what it is that's required of them. As you said, a long-term commitment. As you said, is somebody who really wants to do something that will have a positive impact on the lives of young people.
One person at a time. And like it tells the mentors, you know, Gandhi influenced 300 million people. This is one person that did this. So if we only inspire one child, we know they have that kind of potential. And I know we have inspired many more. Because my question to the children every time I see them is, what do I want from you? And the answer is a high five, greatness. All right? All of them do that. Even the little girl that saw me in the Walmart the other day, I don't recognize this child, but she recognized me. And she said, Miss Felicia, you want me to be great, right? I said, yes, come over here and give me a hug. Her mother must have thought I was crazy, because for the child to just stand there and say, you know, speak to a stranger, what the mother would consider a stranger, she must have been, you know, what is she doing? You know, but they understand. I want greatness from them. And we have 2 events with the children. We have one at the end of the year called a holiday celebration, and we have another one called our success celebration. And the kids look forward to these celebrations every year. Just right now, they're asking about the success party. Okay, and where the success party, we're talking about, wow, this has been a great year. We did great on the FCAT. We'll be promoted. Some of us are graduating. We had a wonderful year together, and we're looking forward to seeing you next year. And we toast to one another with our juice or a sparkling juice or something of this sort. And kids know this toasting. They have it down pat. So we try to make life happy, like you were talking about at the beginning. About happiness.
Oh yes, yes.
And joy.
Now, how can they contact you? And then with the remaining few minutes we've got, I want you to talk about your trip to Africa.
Okay. My name is Felicia Benzo, F-E-L-I-C-I-A, Benzo, B-E-N-Z-O, and you can reach me at 386-216-4289, or at the email SEED, S-E-E-D, as in dog, Principles, P-R-I-N-C-I-P-L-E-S, @gmail.com. You can write me by email or call me anytime. That is my cell phone. And I'm about the trip to Kenya. Trip to Kenya it was a trip going home. And it was a very emotional thing for me. And I enjoyed the 17 hours that it took to get there. But then also, you know, the culture there is very similar to ours here. The people look the same way, they're dressed the same, they speak English. They speak English, the Swahili, their cultural language from whichever group they're from, and many of them are speaking French or some other language, European language as well. Very prosperous looking people, doing a lot of business. City of Nairobi looks like New York City, just jammed traffic. It's a great place to visit. I do recommend though that you go with somebody who's a resident so that they're very familiar with the area as well. The Masai Mara with all the animals, it was an experience. Don't go there if you have a bad back, bad stomach, bad knees. But it was an excellent experience, and I recommend that very much to everyone.
Oh, well. Thank you so much. We still have a couple of minutes, or okay, all right. There is a game tonight in Embry-Riddle. Okay, there's an Embry-Riddle basketball game tonight, which is why we will be going off earlier. But I do want all of our listeners to understand the importance of this program, the importance of us supporting our youth. As you start off saying, you know, whether you're a parent that has a child in school, or you're a grandparent, or you don't have any children in school anymore, it's important for us to work with our young people. And you know, in this last minute, I don't know if you saw the little tape of the video, I guess, about the kid where the parent was teaching them how to use profanity and all that kind of stuff. And people say, oh my God, that's going on. But that's going on in homes around America every day. This is a good reason why we need mentors. We need people who can work with these young people and teach them a better way. Sometimes a better way than they're even getting from their parents. Okay, well, we got to go off the air, but be sure to join us every Thursday starting at 6:15 p.m. As we attempt to inform and empower you, our listeners. Go to the website www.gwen-2.com. Until next time, be informed, be empowered, stand tall for that which is right and truthful. Again, this is Truth with Gwen Azama-Edwards. My guest, Felicia Benzo, founder, executive director of Catalyst. And be sure to follow up with her, because we need to support our youth. Until next Thursday, you guys be blessed.
With your host, Gwen Azama-Edwards, exclusively every Thursday night on WELE 1380 Radio, Ormond Beach, Florida.